Here we are.
Made it. Welcome to Get Found.
And be seen.
Woo!
Excited
Another
to be here,
Monday.
man.
Survived another weekend.
We sure did. We sure did. Hey, Monty, am I freezing up? Am I pixelating?
You are a little choppy. A little choppy.
Chopping it up, huh? I tell you what, I am gonna sit down and I'm going to adjust. Then how about that? Maybe just come from my laptop. How about that? That might
There
just
we
work.
go.
I'm adjusting my camera. Ooh, as we're going in real time. Because that's how we roll. That's what we do. Sometimes it just has to be that way.
Oh, when you're dealing with tech,
Tech.
all that bunch of tech, you just gotta do what you gotta do. You just live with it.
You gotta do what you gotta do. You gotta do what you gotta do. So I'm gonna switch real quick, Monty, in 3, 2, and 1. Oh, look at that. Now I'm like, okay, now I gotta adjust. There we go. How you like that?
That was awesome. That
quick.
was some fancy tech going on right there.
Fancy tech.
The chances of it just dropping completely were extremely high. So you did good.
Oh, good. Oh, who we got here with us? Parakeeta, good afternoon, Parakeeta. How are you? In the house.
Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Now you got a close-up of me now. Can you
now
like my shirt, Monty?
My camera angle here. Get in here. Yeah.
Oh, you're perfect. You like it?
Yes, you are, Carl. You are definitely possible.
I'm possible. One of my favorite sweatshirts to wear.
Yep, I like that saying. That's a good one.
I'm possible. That's right. You got to claim it. Got to own it. So, Monty, really excited about today. We're talking about websites again. Yes, again. It's so important, and I feel like this episode's for me, but it's not really for me, but it is for me as well. So really excited to jump into our topic today. Yes, indeed.
Cool.
So websites, right? Say goodbye to website woes. Find the perfect solution for your business. What's up with that?
Well, we got to clarify a little bit. That's when you're trying to figure out what kind of website. So we're not saying, hey, you have a website, now we're going to get rid of the problems you have with that website. Not those kind of woes, but the which website do I use kind of woes, because there's all sorts of different choices now. Used to be pretty easy. You had a website and that was it.
Right. That's true. Now there's so many options and it's so easy to get that squirrel syndrome, right?
Yeah.
See all the squirrels running around.
And it's so easy to, I want everything. So you try and cram everything all into one website, and then you've got a hot, sticky mess.
Right. That's true. Without a plan or strategy, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Ma Shirley's in the house listening. Hello. Thanks for tuning in.
Welcome.
So yeah, Monty, it's interesting you say that, because it's so easy to be focused on. There's so many things that come your way in the business, and the challenges, like the time's going to go by anyway, right? But if you're not careful and you don't strategize and you don't know what you don't know, one, but if you don't know where you need to go, it's so easy to kind of just get distracted, and therefore you're not going to get anywhere. And when it comes to what website you want to use, would you agree?
Yep. And like we were just saying, the traditional website is what everybody thinks of. Not so. Sometimes people think of something new, but they think that the something new has replaced the old.
Right.
And that's not the case. It's just added to our tool belt. What tools we have available to us.
Right. And it's interesting. Part of that is, in my opinion, is as when we do marketing as marketers, it's important to get people's attention. That's what we do. But you don't want to lead people into that mindset of, okay, this is the only thing now, because the truth of the matter is that's not the case. There are options that you have, and then if you have that mindset, you can help them genuinely help people out with what they specifically need.
Yep. As an example, You can go to the hardware store and get a hammer, but what kind of hammer is it?
Right.
So you have to identify, well, what's the job I'm trying to do and what are my choices, and match up the best thing for what I need it to do.
Right.
Next time around, that might not be the best tool.
That's true. Ain't that the truth? We had to do some bathroom work last week and we had to find the right tools to use so we wouldn't have to go back to the hardware store.
Well, and sometimes you say, well, it would be easier if I use this tool, but I'm gonna use this other tool instead because it's what I have on hand.
Right.
And sometimes that works out, and other times you spend more time trying to adapt the tool to your use than it would have been just going and getting the right tool in the first place.
Ooh, that's good. That's a great point.
And that's a balance and personal opinion there, because sometimes it's like I don't want to stop what I'm doing to go and do that. I want to just finish, and so we use the tool and adapt it, and sometimes we're okay with that. Other times we go, I wish I would have just done that other thing. And then you end up going and doing that other thing anyway, and you spend twice as much time.
Right. And the time is gone.
And the time is gone.
Yeah. Right. That's so true. So, Monty, my question for you is what is the significance of a website structure and how does it impact the overall success of a website? So if I'm a person, if I'm a business owner and I don't know anything about it, but I have an idea of what I want, what would be that significance of a website structure?
Well, a website, you just want to identify what does a person want to do? Well, first, what do you want the person to do? And then also, what does that person want? Because the way you perceive what they want and the way they perceive what they want isn't necessarily the same way. So if you see both sides of that picture, then you can help structure something. So that way, when they visit, they're going to get what they want. And if you structure it where what you want is what they want, then you have a win-win situation.
Right. And that's, it's interesting you say that because there are a lot of limiting beliefs that one can have. If as a business owner, I know what I want, but the limiting beliefs I have as of I don't know how to do a website. I don't know what I want. I have somewhat of an idea, but it's easy. I'm walking into a conversation with someone like you because that's what you do, right? And that's my mindset. So I assume like you'd have to be able to set me at ease, right? With what you just said too.
Yep. Yep. Well, and a lot of people are being bombarded by information because there are
Right.
different companies and people that are saying, "Hey, my website's the best for everybody.
Right.
This will work for anybody." And so we get all this information coming in, and one thing is saying that this is the one thing for everybody, and this one's saying this is the one thing for everybody. It's like, but how can two different things be for everybody?
Right. It's confusing. It
It
gets
is
confusing.
indeed.
So that's a great point. It gets confusing, but it's in like someone like you. I think you do a great job. You helped me out with that. Like for my blog situation, you helped me and you put me at ease with getting it up. And actually, it took much less time than I thought it would take. And
You were quick. That was
it was
good.
quick. Oh, I appreciate that because but that's also coming from the time of 2018 where I was like, I just give up on this whole blog thing. Forget it. Done. But you help me with my limiting belief to get me to my destination. So that's what I'm talking about. That was really helpful.
Cool. Well, that's my goal.
Yeah.
I instead of trying to show people the right answer, I try to show people all the options and help them decide which one is the right answer.
Right. And that's a great ground to be on because that's business owners need that. When you have clear communicated information and you know what your options are, as my wife says, I like to have options. You have the option, then you can choose what you specifically want and what would be best for you.
Exactly. Yep. And that changes from person to person and situation to situation.
Right. And so, Monty, you talked about traditional websites. And it's interesting because some people might say, "What traditional websites? What do you mean? What are you talking about? Like, what would you say are some key components to traditional websites?"
Well,
structure?
traditional, that's going to be our long term. That's what everybody's familiar with. So a traditional website has a home page and a contact page and an about us page. And then if it's a restaurant, you're going to have a menu page. And if it's a car rental place, you're going to have a rentals page. So it just depends on the business. But the traditional structure, it's home, about, contact, and then whatever else is specific for that type of website. That's pretty much the traditional type of a website. And then blogs came along and they still have a similar thing. You have a home page and then you have an about us page usually, or a contact or both or something, and then the blog. There's that specialty
Right.
spot.
Right. It's cool. It's cool to be able to identify that too, because I remember when I was a talent agent in oof, 2005. 2000, yeah,
Way
2000,
back when.
way back when, 2005. Woo, my goodness. That was my issue, just figuring out my website, and it's interesting because you say traditional websites, and I think about timing, because I think about that time I had a specific need, and then 2000 fast forward to 2018, I had my specific need when I wanted my blog, but I wanted people to get into my website so that they can purchase my services. Where 2005 I couldn't do that because people were like, they weren't even thinking about that then. They weren't ready for that. It's interesting to see the journey of how things went. And then now it's 2023, the needs are different.
Very
But
different.
we're very different, but we're still able to talk about traditional websites, and we talk about structures and to see where we're at now. I think it's good for our audience to kind of get an idea of where we land now.
Right. And I'll also point out a traditional website is the old version, but it's still current. There are still certain businesses where that is what they need, you know. And some people think, oh well, you just got Google. You don't need a website anymore. But Google gets its information from your website and from a lot of other sources too. But
Right.
one of the main factors that Google uses is your website. So you don't need a fancy one. You need one that Google can say, yep, that's him. That's her.
Right.
That's that business.
Right. Right. And that's important too, because in with today, with the language that people use now, and this is it, no, that's right, that's wrong. It's important for people to understand, like, look, you still have that option, and you can still make that choice. And you know it's easy to think, I have to be in this box. I like to say box because the challenge is marketers could put you in a box. We can
Mhm.
put people in boxes, and we got to really be careful with that, because we're people. At the end of the day, we're people, and we have to
Absolutely.
be able to treat people as people. So I think this is important to be able to discuss this today.
I agree. I agree.
Right on. And so, what about e-commerce? I'm curious about that, because that's going to be my next segue for my business. How does an e-commerce focused website structure different from traditional websites? That
Well,
structure.
the e-commerce is trying to sell multiple things.
Mm,
So you want a structure that is easy to navigate and presents the things that the person is looking for. So if you look at Amazon, they have the search feature to try and hone in what somebody's looking at, and then they have a bunch of stuff of, well, we also have, and this is similar, and other people have bought, and so there's this um, leading people to stuff involved with an e-commerce site. With one strategy of an e-commerce site, because you could also just have the strategy of, hey, I'm just going to put my stuff out there because I don't have 50 bajillion things like Amazon. I've got 12. So I just put
mm,
them all on the page, 12 right there.
yeah.
So again, there's that, where do I want my stuff to go and who is coming to see it? That's that other thing. So Amazon, they're like, okay, well, we know we have gajillion people coming here and we know that they're going into the search box. So we're going to really fine tune the search thing and the suggestion thing. And then the person that's like, I got the 12, well, they're going to want to organize it of, well, I sell the most of these, so they should be at the top. And then these other ones will go down below.
Nice. That's cool. Yeah, I love Amazon.com. I sometimes I'm camping out on that site some weeks.
Well, it's very popular. Gets lots and lots of people. Although I think that it is so huge and is trying to make sales so hard. They're putting so much effort into selling and making sales. I mean that is what a business is trying to do. But I think that
Right.
they're leaving the user experience behind a little bit for their sales. And you'll see this in a lot of websites. And when it starts to become cumbersome and you got so much on the screen going on, you know, I'll, I'll touch base on this really quick, but a confused mind doesn't buy.
Right.
So there's this balance, and Amazon's pushing that balance for me. When I go to Amazon, I have to just like put my blinders on. Say, I don't care what all these other people have bought.
Right.
That doesn't mean anything to me. And in fact, it's distracting and slows me down. So
Hmm.
that's one of the aspects when I'm thinking about it, e-commerce, is how can I present the information so that the person is not getting squirrel syndrome, you know, and then not making the sale, because they may,
Right.
oh well, these other people, and they start looking at other stuff, well then they run out of time and they don't actually complete the sale, or they look through other stuff and they go, oh well, maybe I want this one instead, and now they're buying something else instead of your thing. Now if it's
Right.
your website, everything is your thing, that doesn't matter so much. And again, that's that, hey, let me analyze my website and see how I want it to flow. Just because Amazon does it this way doesn't mean that's the best way for me to do it.
Right. That's true. I mean, yeah, I know for me, I use that search feature. I'm like, okay, I know exactly what I need. I'm going there as opposed to going to a physical store. I'll support my community stores. Side note, but as far as when I'm on Amazon, I'd use that search feature. But if not, it's so there's so many things that come your way. You are so right with that.
Yeah, it comes down to intent. When
Intent.
you go and search, what you were just describing is I'm searching for a thing. It's
Right.
like before I even go to Amazon, I'm like, I need to find this thing. Amazon.com. I'm looking for this thing. So you have
Right.
specific intent. Then there's other people that are going, they're like, I want to solve this problem, but I don't know how. Or I want a
Right.
product that's like this thing, but I don't know what it is. So they go to the search and they want all those things.
Right.
So again, not good or bad, right or wrong. It's just well, how is this working for my customers? And Amazon's saying, hey, there's enough people that are just searching to search, so we're going to put as much stuff out there as we can. And when you have a
Right.
bajillion customers every day, you can do stuff like that.
Right. It's interesting you said that too, because I was thinking, the challenge is some business owners may look at that model and say, "Oh, let me do this too." Ain't gonna work for everyone. You're not Amazon.com can do that, but
Right.
a lot of businesses cannot do that. And it was interesting because I was looking at a site for a client today, and it was for a school actually, and the school had a e-commerce section, and I found that very interesting. I love the setup too. I mean, this particular website had it going on, but I saw the portion where it was the e-commerce portion and the different things you could purchase, and it was cool to see like even schools using that option, and even the way they segmented things was brilliant. They did it by class, or a specific portion of their school, different groups of their school, which I thought was smart. But it was cool to just observe that and see how innovative they were with using that tool. It seemed like to me, I mean, I'm not sure of their results, but to me, it seems like they're handling that so excellently.
That's a good example with the school, because they had to look at their structure and say, okay, the people who are visiting here, they're parents of kids who are in certain grades.
Yeah.
So by sectioning out by classes and by grades, they were able to give a good user experience.
Right. Right. I mean, I even enjoyed it. I don't have kids in that school.
And that's a great indication, is that someone who doesn't have any connection with the product or service that's on the
Right.
website, and they say, wow, this website's easy to navigate. That's a great indicator that your user experience is spot on.
Right. Right. So that's with that specific site. I want to kind of I'm curious. I'm curious to go back and kind of dissect. How did let me look at this some more and just kind of figure out how do they do this in the back. That's not my arena, but it still made me curious to want to dissect.
It still has a framework that is valuable.
Right.
The information inside that framework might not be the information that you are seeking, but
Right.
how the information flows, how it's accessed, and how it's displayed
Right.
is the framework that is what you're actually looking at.
Right. So true. So that's gonna be my adventure a little later either today or this week.
When you find that spare moment.
The spare moment. Oh, we have time. I mean,
We got 24 hours a day. Plenty
24 hours a day, plenty of time. Huh. Monty, what about funnels? There was a time where that term was booming. It still is, but not the way I see it. Not as much, but there's still a audience for it, of course. What are your thoughts on funnels?
Funnels are the thing that started the whole websites are dead because somebody with really good marketing and lots of money
Yeah.
pushed that out there. And it was a good marketing strategy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not saying that it wasn't a good one. But it did push out information out there that isn't completely accurate.
Right.
And also made a bunch of people believe it.
Right.
And so there are people that are like, well, funnels, that's what you need. Funnels are the website now. You don't need a website, you need a funnel.
Right.
And think of it. What if Amazon used funnels? How difficult would it be to find and buy 6 products? You'd have to go to 6 different funnels.
Right.
So again, finding out what is our objective here and what's the easiest way for the user to accomplish that objective. So funnels are great when you have one item, one service, or one bundle of things. It's a one-time purchase.
Right.
And of course, funnels, then you have your upsells and other things through the rest of the funnel. But the idea here is we're just talking about users coming to a website and using it. So if you're doing that one item, one service, the funnel is a great way. Not the only way, and maybe not the best way, but oftentimes it works really well.
Right. Right. Yeah, I remember when that boom came. And I was like, funnel. That was in my every other word. Actually, I still use funnels. I love using funnels. They serve me really well. But in the back of my mind, it couldn't serve me for what I needed. And as you know, that was my blog situation. I wanted to have a platform where I could express that. And because my journey was interesting because my background as an entertainer, as a musician and an actor, a lot of people knew me for that. But I wanted to draw people's attention towards services and products I could bring value to them with. And so it was really hard to. So the funnels really helped me out a lot with that. But even in this time, we'll talk about the website hubs as well. Having one of those is helpful where I can have a funnel and it could draw people into my community, but I could bring them to my blog as well. Because in this season in my life, I really wanted to be able to express things that I've learned along my journey that could help bring value to people's lives. And the funnel couldn't help me with that. More the blog can help me with that. So, but I do love them. But you saying that is super true because it's important to know where you want to go, what your plan is, what your objectives are. And a funnel might not be for you, or it might be for you.
Absolutely.
If you want to lead into a specific thing.
And that touches base, with the school website you were just talking about and the whole websites are dead, funnels are taking over type of thing. Across that whole scope, it's like, well, a website could have all of those things.
Right.
Because you could have a blog and in there could be a link that takes you to a page on your website, but that one page is set up as a funnel.
Right.
So your website is traditional, but includes a funnel. And then you click on this other link, you go to this other page, and there's your 12 products and your e-commerce page. So now you
Right.
have a traditional website with a funnel and an e-commerce.
Right.
So it's possible you can combine those things there. But we also have all these wonderful platforms that integrate a variety of services with your
Right.
email responder and other things. And so
Right.
you can't necessarily have everything on one of those. So you might have more than one spot. Maybe you have a traditional website where your blog is at, and then you have one of these special things. You got ClickFunnels or System.io or one of those funnel platforms, and then you got
Right.
several funnels maybe there,
Right.
And so therefore your traditional website's going to lead to those. And maybe you
Right.
have your traditional website's not where your blog's at. Maybe you have your blog on medium.com. And
Right.
so they'll point your thing to there. So there's different ways of structuring it, and knowing the structures is what's going to help a person decide which way is going to work for me.
Right. And that's huge. I'm curious for you, like what do you use? Is there any tools that you use to help people to get on that level of just understanding the options they have? I know for me, I use a mind map because visually they can see where the options are, where they can go. But
I have not
I've
created any materials
mm,
for that because my
mm,
services have been a one-on-one. And
got it.
so again, for each person, it's differently. So after talking to them a little bit, finding out their goals, finding
Right.
out just enough about them, because I like to use metaphors and anecdotes and things to help people understand the tech side of stuff from a
Right.
real world position.
Right.
And so knowing a little bit about them, I know I can determine, oh, I can use a car analogy, or I should use a
Yeah.
sewing machine analogy, or a cooking analogy, or something. So that
Right.
way they have that real world example and can see what I'm trying to explain. So for some
Right.
people, maybe I'll tell them, here's all the different websites. But if they've told me, hey, we just got 6 products, we want to sell it, and we want to put a weekly blog out. Well, then I know,
Yeah.
oh, I just need to show them these couple of ways of doing that.
Nice. Wow. So you filter it out for them. You help them. You're as you're walking them through it, you filter it out for them. I find that very interesting.
That's the
That's
part of
a
the service. Yeah, that's
yeah.
the point of sitting down one-on-one with somebody rather
Right.
than taking a course or something that's intended for hundreds of people.
Right. Right. And that makes sense. That's really cool. I bet there's a way you could do that with the masses too, because you have that
I'm
skill,
working
Monty.
on that.
You have that
That's what I'm
skill.
working towards, is how can I present this information to more people?
Right. Right. That's cool. Yeah, I that's what I did. I use a mind map to kind of help people to because visually I learned different ways. As an artist, I had to learn different ways, auditory, visually, physically. But just looking at a mind map was really helpful for me to be able to help people to get to that place. I was just
Yep,
curious.
visualizing's really helpful for most people.
Right. Right. That's cool, man. So, Monty, what about the whole thing we talked about the content hubs? Is that the phrase now? The phrase?
Well, Content Hub actually has been around for a long time,
Hmm.
and the concept is that a Content Hub is a website with a core topic. And
Yeah.
then each blog post, each page on the
Right.
website is a different um, point on that topic.
Right.
And so that's that hub type of a thing. And the concept there is going to be, well, this content hub is about divorce, recovering from divorces, or
Right.
so that it's all about that.
Interesting. Yeah, I find you got me thinking that because I'm working with someone who's talking about communication actually. My wife, she's talking about her topic is communication. So I'm like, oh, wait a minute. So
So
that's
that's
marinating
a
in my
good topic.
mind.
That's a good topic for a
Yeah.
content hub.
Yeah.
And again, a content hub would be one of many things that a person would be doing.
Right.
It's not like, oh, a content hub that's my thing. That's all I'm doing. Although someone could grab a hold of that and expand on it, but it's not necessarily intended to be the one all solution. Content hubs also go into the next arena with groups of people, and so therefore you can have a place where a project manager can be controlling a bunch of things, and so it's not a website in the traditional sense of people going and visiting it to gather information. It's a website where coworkers and teammates collaborate. And so you have the central area, and then you'll have different. This is for this section of it, and this is for that section of it, and you can go to the specific areas and target your project.
Right. Now, I personally, this is my favorite one, I gotta say, because with my journey, it was, just like I mentioned before, people see me from an artist, to people seeing me as someone who can serve people with a business. That was the hardest thing, and that's the whole thing with perception, giving people the right perception. But having a content hub can, I can let people know this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is the way. These are the different ways I serve people.
So you're actually going to the next stage there, because you're describing your web presence hub.
Web presence hub, content hub, web. Whoa, there's that difference.
I've coined that a little bit. I haven't found anyone else quite using that terminology and that phrasing like that. The web presence hub. So a content hub is all things about that topic.
Right.
So your web presence hub is all things you.
All things you.
So you are the center, and all the things are things about you. And that's the power of having all the different stuff. So you have a hub of you, and now your funnel that's on ClickFunnels, you can link to that. And your blog that's on Medium, you can link to that. And your other thing, you can link to that. And so now you have this central repository. So when someone buys something from your funnel, and the funnel doesn't have anything else leading anywhere else because it's focused to buy that thing. They buy the thing, and then they get the email saying, hey, great, you bought that thing. That was a good choice. If you want to check out some of the other stuff I'm doing, here's my web presence hub. Of course, you wouldn't want to say that because that'd probably confuse people. But say, hey, check this out. Go to montyarmstrong.com. Go to carlaleen.com. Go to my centralized point, and then you'll learn about all the other great stuff that I'm doing.
All the things you?
All things you. That's right.
That is so cool, man. That's my favorite one, man. I gotta say, that is my favorite. That is my favorite.
Well, it's all you.
It's all you. It's all you. Oh, shout out to Shadi. Hey, Shadi, how's it going? Said it's been a long time. Shadi's a friend of mine. Welcome.
Joining the show.
Thanks for joining the show.
We're
great to have you here. Having a good time, a party. We didn't do our dance today, though, Monty. We didn't do our dance, We gotta have some music on here eventually too. That'd be cool.
Yeah, every time the countdown starts out and then we pop on, I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe we're gonna have to talk about that music going in and still playing when we pop on the screen, because it's kind of almost anticlimactic there for a second.
Boom. Yeah, we could do something. We could figure something out.
We'll play around with that.
We'll play around with it. Absolutely. Man, it's good talking about this, man. So, Monty, I have another question. How can a well-designed website structure enhance the user experience and navigation?
Well, we've been kind of talking about that, the idea of the user coming to the website. And so we need to give thought to what is that user going to do, and how are they going to react, and what are they looking for, and how can we serve them?
Right.
So the structure of the website is going to help them accomplish why they're there. If it's just to find out more about you, then you want a structure that has, hey, here's my stuff, and here's a little bit of this and a little bit of that, and you can click on any one of these things to learn more.
Right.
And when somebody's like, man, I want the widget. I want widget XYZ. Well, then you go to that funnel, and it's like, hey, here's widget XYZ, and here's why you would want it, and here's how you can get it, and here's how much it costs, and here's the button to buy it.
Right.
And that person's going to say like, yes, 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 click.
Right.
So it's all down to knowing your customer, knowing their intent,
Right.
and then setting yourself up for success.
Right. I love that, Monty. And I think, and for those listening who you're looking to build a website or you have one and you're not happy with it, you're trying to make some transitions, that's good for you to hear too. You want to be able to think about what's my end goal? What do I want? I like to share with people too. Hey, who are your dream clients? Like, what are their challenges? What are their pains? What are their dreams and ambitions? And you can, like, that fits in with, in my opinion, that fits in with how you want to lay things out. Would you agree, Monty?
Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Yep, that even
Yeah.
ties into our avatar that we use and the ideal client and knowing what it is that they want, knowing their pains and their desires and their
Right.
problems and their questions and you know, all those same things. If you know those things, then you know why they're coming to the website.
Right. Right. You know why. And that's great because it's like, I give this analogy, Monty. I'm a movie buff. I love going to the movies. Love going to the movies. I have to watch my previews. We go to movies and I don't get a chance to watch the previews. 10 minutes in, I'm having a hard time because I know that I missed the previews. I know I missed that moment, which set everything up. And nowadays with Marvel and everything, I got to enjoy the outtakes as well. I need to watch the outro or whatever it's called, the outtakes.
Yep.
It's all about the whole experience. So I say that to say, I love what you said. That it's all about the experience that you bring them. So the more information you have, the more you can give. I'm pretty sure you have experiences too, but I've run into people say, look, I just want this up and I want this, and that's it. But usually you have to pump the brakes and say, you know what, okay, let me ask you these specific questions because that way we could paint a picture and find out what your audience, business owner, your audience may want, and we can build from there.
Yeah, that impulsive. I just want this thing. I just want it up there so that people can buy it.
Right.
That's on one hand, there is that if it's not there, they can't buy it. So it's like I don't want to wait till it's perfect. I want to get it up there and going. So
Right.
there's that balance, but being too impulsive, if you have a little bit of time to analyze, it's kind of like aiming at your target. It's like, hey, I've got my bow and arrow. There's the target over there. Boing.
Right.
Huh, I didn't hit it. Well, if you just taken 2 seconds, you would at least been closer.
Right. Right. And that's important too, Monty, because 4 years down the road or 4 months down the road, 2 years down the road, you might want to make some adjustments. But if you already got that information, the time goes on, you're able to make the adjustments so much quicker because you know where your audience is at. Comes back to that avatar, the target audience.
Yep. Which is an ongoing process.
Right.
It's not well, I've defined them and now I'm good to go because people change, society changes, technology changes.
Yeah, that's true. But it's so cool to be able to recognize that because that increases your impact. You realize that people are changing. So, and I found that we're in the midst of things, we're in our modes, so we don't realize that society and different things and we're changing. So even as marketers, it's important to be able to pay attention to that so that we can help our clients out.
Well, and we're also doing things on a daily basis and the changes are happening. And so we don't really notice that, well, gosh, 6-12 months ago, things were kind of like this and now they're kind of like this. But I went there in these little tiny stages, so I don't remember that it used to be and now it is.
Right.
So that constant evolving, always going back and reanalyzing, is this still working the way I want it to?
Right. Right. So one who's looking to hire someone to do a website for them, that might be something to look out for too. Hey, can this person help me keep a pulse?
Right. Is this option going to allow me options? It's double option. Does this option give me more options? Or am I stuck with this one thing? And especially when you're having someone else do it, I always recommend everybody control your own things and have
Mm,
someone help you with them. Don't pay them to do it all.
right.
Because if they get picked up by the mothership and they leave the planet, so does your website, because they control everything. And especially if they control your domain, because then you're starting over from scratch.
Right.
So the best thing is that you control your own stuff and then have someone help you with it, and make sure that when you do that, that person is setting it up in a way that someone else can continue, or you can learn how to continue. Someone can continue. Because again, and I say the mothership comes take me away, because I don't like to say somebody dies. All right. But that happens. And that
Yeah.
a customer asked me bluntly, and that's what so I started trying to figure out better ways of saying it. But they said, Monty, what happens to my website if you get hit by a bus tomorrow?
Mm,
I'm like, well, gosh, I
wow.
hope that doesn't happen. But
Sheesh. Sheesh.
I've got things set up. So with you, Carl, if something happens to me, your
Right.
website and everything will stay going, and
Right.
the parent company that I'm an affiliate of will take over and continue with your stuff. That's why I went
Yeah.
that route. So there's a lot
Yeah.
of different ways for me to set up and help people with websites,
Right.
but they all ended up with me being in control of stuff. And that's appealing for a lot of people, because then they're like, well, I control it, so that way the customers is dependent on me. And I
Right.
think that is a flawed business practice. If you
Right.
make the customer dependent upon you, I don't know. I don't know where to go with that. I don't like that feeling. I don't want to be
Right.
dependent upon someone. I want the
Right.
option. And
Right.
if they give me all the options and they provide me with everything I need, I don't need to even look at the other options.
Right.
And that's my philosophy. If I give them everything they need, they won't need to look anywhere else.
Right. Interesting. In the long run, that's a win-win. In the immediate, potentially, that could be a lose-lose. Like if you don't, I love your approach, because I feel like that sets me up for a win-win. But if your mindset is, well, yeah, I'm the website guy, so therefore everything is done through me, that's lose-lose. Because God, God, if the mothership comes, right? I'm at a loss, you're at a loss, and it's a lose-lose. So that was brilliant of you to think about that. Now, coming at the start, that could kind of be intimidating, like, oh, wait a minute, okay, so I got to learn how to do, what do I need to learn how to do, someone might ask. But the way you're approaching, the way you handle things is you make it really, really easy as far as setting things up. And so that you made it easy for me to get things set up to, okay, I could do this. And then once I knew I can do it, I was off to the races.
Yes,
But
you
it's
were.
again, getting past that roadblock, that mindset, so
And that's
that's
the society has put that mindset in there with all of these websites are dead. Funnels are the only way to do it. You need to
right.
do it this way. You have to have this kind of hosting. This is the best thing out there.
Hmm.
And so then people are just overwhelmed, and they end
Right.
up whatever thing was the most resonant with them is the thing they grab a hold of. And
Right.
then sometimes that works out fine, and other times they struggle with it. And they might not even know they're struggling. They just might think this is the way it is. This is the way you do a website. This is the way it
Right.
works.
Right. And I assume that a lot of times they won't know they're struggling, because as business owners, we're in the trenches. Sometimes some things we don't have time to think about it, but it's still in the back of our mind. It's still gnawing at us. It's still, we know that something's wrong, or something's like us. It's just not setting right, but I love that you said that,
Yeah,
but
without the perspective,
right.
yeah, you
Right.
won't even know that you're struggling. But a lot
Right.
of people will still identify, I spend a lot of time and I feel agitated when I get done doing it. It throws a negative connotation onto my day whenever I have to mess with it. They might
Right.
not know that they are struggling, but they'll know, they can identify they're not happy about it.
Right. I tell you, Monty, I hope you put out some content about that, because that stuff, that's an important topic too. Because that is a source of a lot of business owner stress. I could tell you that. I know it was for me. So I can firsthand, I can tell you,
Yep.
but it puts you, it really, we need to be put at ease, because we have so much going on. But our web presence is so important at the same time. So it needs to get done.
Yep. Yeah, in this day and age, that's how we get found and be seen.
And be seen.
Ah.
That's how we do it. That's how we do it.
Yes, sir.
So Monty, how can someone determine which website structure strategy is best suited for their goals in their target audience?
Well, we've kind of touched base on that a little bit. We'll just summarize on that. We'll just bring
Let's
this up.
go.
Here's the keep it simple segment
Keep it
right
simple.
here. Let's keep it simple. It's all about knowing your target audience's intent
Right.
and your intent, comparing the two together so that you can build a structure that they can navigate and have a good user experience, and they will either click or buy or try or whatever it is that you're trying to give them. So
Right.
the best website structure is determined by your goals and your customer's intent.
Well put.
That's
put.
that's the keep it simple solution right there.
And I might add to that, give them the experience that will leave them with the emotion of, this was one of the greatest experiences I've had with online tech, with my business experience, whatever it is.
With buying a
Leave them
widget.
buying a widget, whatever it is.
Whatever it is. They go to that
Funnel,
website
whatever.
and they say, that was awesome.
That was awesome. And I say this, Monty, you remember that was my response, right? After our times, I was like,
Yep.
whoa, what a rush.
Well, I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. That's what drives me to do what I do, is when
Right.
someone looks at me and goes, yes. That just makes me happy as a clam.
100%. I feel the same. I feel the same, my brother. Absolutely.
Awesome.
I think we covered everything.
Covered a lot. I don't know about everything, but we covered website structure pretty good.
Yes, indeed. Mission accomplished. Monty, so if someone's having tech issues with their computer, if they need a website, they don't know where to start, where to go, or they might have heard this episode and they say, okay, what's the next step for me? Where can one find you for all things website, all things Monty?
All things Monty. If you need a little help, if you want me to do the website, if you just need some guidance, you can find me at montyarmstrong.com.
That's right. montyarmstrong.com.
All things
Go
Monty.
there. All things Monty.
And on conversely, what about all things Carl? Somebody says, hey, I really don't like getting on video. I feel really uncomfortable and I need help being more confident projecting myself in front of other people. Where could they go?
Yes, indeed. You can go to carlalene.com. carlalene.com. I can help you with your presence, feeling comfortable on camera, feeling comfortable expressing yourself, your public speaking, all things Carl. Also, if you need some dance move, I dance too. So, we groove. It's all connected. It all stems from presence, in my opinion. That's my jam.
That's awesome. That's perfect.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Great.
Parakeeta, thank you for joining us. And thank you, everyone. And we'll see you soon.
Yes.
Another episode of Get Found
and Be Seen.
That's
See you
right.
next time.
See you next time.